Get ready to deck the halls and trim the tree with these genius ornament hacks you never knew you needed. These DIY decor ideas I'm sharing will make your holiday season merry and bright. Whether you're a crafting pro or a holiday newbie, these ornament hacks will take your decorations to the next level. So grab some hot cocoa, get cozy, and start making this the most wonderful time of the year. For this ornament, we're going to take a clear ornament from Dollar Tree, and then we're going to also be using some pearls from the Dollar Tree. You can find pearls at Dollar Tree in the crafters area. We're going to take the larger pearls. They do have two sizes, a larger and a small. We're going to fill our clear ornament up about 3/4 of the way, just putting our pearls in there, nothing fancy. Once our pearls get put in, we're going to add our topper, and I picked up this really pretty pearl C at Hobby Lobby. It was half off, so it cost about $1.50. It is a sticker, so it has a sticky backing, but we're going to add some hot glue just to give it a reinforced hold onto our ornament. I'm going to just make sure that I press down all the edges so it's very secure onto our ornament. And then I had some ribbons also from Dollar Tree, just kind of in my stash. I tied them all together, and we're just going to hot glue them up at the top of our ornament. Super easy. Anyone can make this one. It's super fancy and elegant. I think I have just the person in mind for this one. Let me know what you guys think about this ornament. I love to use these ornament hooks that I get at Hobby Lobby. If there's an Amazon version, I'll link it down for you down in the description box. But they're pretty fancy, easy to use, and they give you a pretty high-end look. For this project, we're going to take these treat containers I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to use these flocked ornaments that I also got at Hobby Lobby. Now, I did remove the hanger from this. It isn't necessary. You don't need to do that part. But all we're going to do is hot glue our ornament into the treat container. If you don't want to go to Hobby Lobby and get these flocked ornaments, I'm going to show you a different option here in a second that you can do with Dollar Tree ornaments. So we're just going to use our hot glue, put it around inside the container, and add our flocked ornament. Then we're going to be using some puff paint. I got this puff paint at Dollar Tree. You can find it in the Crafter Square section. If your Dollar Tree doesn't have it, you can get it at Walmart or Hobby Lobby, or I'll have an option down in the description box. I'm just going to go ahead and put it all over the top. We're trying to make it look like some marshmallow sauce, and I just kind of fill it in here and there as I go around, and then I'm tapping on the table just to kind of have it go all down the ice cream of our ornament. This takes a little bit of time to dry, so make sure you give yourself some time when you're creating this project. I also picked up these little baubles at Dollar Tree. I'm using the red one to represent the cherry on top, and then I went ahead and added the hanger back in. So when I said you didn't have to cut it off, this is what I meant. If you had left it there, it would have been totally fine. You're just going to decorate around the hanger. Because I cut mine off, I'm just going to go ahead, add a little bit more puff paint around where it is. That way it blends into the topping of our sundae. Then I got these cute little embellishments at Hobby Lobby. They're little sprinkles, and they have little snowmans, and I'm just going to add them on top. That is it for this one. Adorable. Definitely my favorite one of the video. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Now, if you don't want to get the flocked ornaments at Hobby Lobby, here's an option. I picked up some pearl paint. I don't recommend the pearl paint. I definitely recommend just some white acrylic paint. Mine tends to be a little bit too thin after I get this finished, but I wanted it to give it a little bit more of like an ice cream shine. But you're going to add your paint into the clear ornament. You're going to roll it around until it's totally covered. You're going to have to give this a little bit of dry time as well, just so that the paint can empty out of the ornament and dry. Then we're going to take these cupcake liners. These are the smaller ornaments, so if you're using one of the large ornaments, you could use those treat containers as well. I glued it into the cupcake liner. I'm just going to add some kind of cute ribbon here. If you wanted to embellish this with a hot sauce or something on top, you could use some brown hot glue, you could use some brown puffy paint, giving it the look of a sundae as well. I went for just an ice cream with a cherry on top, but you could embellish this in any way that you like. So I had the ribbon up at the top for our hanger, and then we're going to use our bauble one more time to glue on as the cherry. And that is it for this one. Super simple, and you can recreate that sweet treat on your own with Dollar Tree products. For this project, I took one of the large clear ornaments that they have at Dollar Tree, and I also got this fairy light string that looks like a string of lights. Now, I wasn't 100% sure this was going to work, but it does, and it's super cute. So all we're going to do is undo them, add some batteries to our battery pack, and if you're like me, I didn't realize you needed to use a screwdriver, so you need a tiny screwdriver to take the back off of that. So once you have that all together, all you're going to do is add it into the ornament so it looks like a string of lights. I wanted to add a bow to the top just to give it a little bit more something, and so I went ahead and took this cute ribbon I got at Hobby Lobby, tied it into a pretty simple bow, and we're going to attach it to the top. All I did with the battery pack was glue it to the back of the ornament. This is a tiny bit heavy, but the ornament pack is not noticeable when you get it on the tree. And here it is lit up. I love this one. Let me know what you guys think about this one. This ornament's going to give us a little bit more of a high-end look. So we're going to take a clear ornament from Dollar Tree. We're going to add some Mod Podge and these gold metal flakes. I got these at Dollar Tree in the Dollar Tree Plus section. If you can't find them in Dollar Tree Plus section, they do have something similar at Walmart, or I'll list an option down below from Amazon. All we're going to do is dab these gold flakes on, and then once we have it totally covered, I'm going to use my foam brush that still had glue on it to get off any of the little pieces. This also seals in the gold leafing that we already put on. I also put the topper back on and used the gold leafing on the topper as well. That way you get a solid look of gold throughout the whole ornament. Once I have that on, I just kind of go over and make sure that all the pieces are adhered, and then I made this really pretty easy bow using some ribbon from Dollar General. All I'm going to do is glue it to the top, and that is it for this one. I love how this one turned out. Let me know if you would recreate this. This is a super simple but adorable project. We're going to take a large clear ornament from Dollar Tree and one of the garlands that they have out this year. These have cute little gnomes on them. I thought it was adorable. All we're going to do is thread our garland into the large ornament. You can put as much or as little into this one as you like. I wanted to make sure that the gnomes were kind of going forward as I put it in there. That way you can see them in the front of the ornament. So after I get all of my garland in, then I'm going to go ahead and make a quick bow. This ribbon came out, I think, last year at Dollar Tree. It's also some gnomes. I thought it was pretty cute and kind of coordinated together. So I made a simple bow. We're just going to glue that up at the top. And then I took another one of those plastic gnomes that's off of the garland, and I'm just going to glue it up in the top of the bow. That is it for this one. I love it. Let me know what you guys think about this one. We're going to use another one of the flocked ornaments from Hobby Lobby for this project. If you don't want to use the flocked ornament, you can use the technique earlier in the video where we take a clear ornament and use paint and you can get the same pink look. So I got these stickers at Hobby Lobby. They were half off, so they were about $2.50. They are the pink gingerbread. Pink is kind of a hot color for Christmas this year, and it also gives off that kind of sorority vibe that is really popular right now with the gold around. So we're going to go ahead, and all we're going to do is put the stickers onto our ornament. Super simple. I actually really adore this one, and it was one of my favorites from the video. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Sticking with this same theme, I had one of these green ornaments I picked up at the DI last time I was there, and I also got these stickers from Hobby Lobby. They were half off, kind of in the same area where the pink gingerbread was. All we're going to do is glue them to our ornament, kind of in a random pattern. Once I get them all glued onto the ornament, then we're going to take a paint marker and we're just going to draw a line to attach them to each other, kind of like a string of lights. This is a kind of smaller ornament, so if you want to recreate this with a bigger ornament, you probably have a little bit more space for your string of lights. Once I have the string going around to all of the ornaments, I kind of do a little circle kind of above the bulb. That way it looks like it's attached to the string. And then I went ahead and went around with my same marker and added some polka dots onto our string. And then I added polka dots to the whole ornament. I think this turned out so cute. I don't know what it is about these stickers, but they're absolutely adorable. Let me know down in the comments if you'd recreate one of these ornaments.
I used to be blue, now I'm brand new, all wrapped up in red. I keep on dreaming of his face, he just melts my heart away. I'm all glittery, cause he makes it feel like Christmas every day. Now the winter's...
Now I wanted to go for a natural look in these next couple ornaments, so I picked up some potpourri at the Dollar Tree. You can find this in the crafters area. It's $1.25 for the bag, and you get quite a few pieces in this bag. I barely used any to make this ornament, so this might be a good gift basket idea as well. You could put the ornaments in there with the potpourri and some other bath items. All I did was add it. I did two different ones, lavender and eucalyptus. And then I'm going to add some shabby kind of chic ribbons to the top. This is really simple. They also had some dried flowers in the potpourri bags. So I took out each flower and I glued it to the top of the ornament. And that is it. You get this a really pretty natural look, and I think it would make a great gift. So for this project, I picked up this bag of buttons at a garage sale. These are pretty old buttons. Some of them are vintage. You can tell just by the looks of them. This would make a really cute keepsake ornament if you have a sewer in your family, or you have a lot of vintage buttons that are maybe family related and you don't think you're ever going to use them. A lot of the buttons in this bag weren't buttons that I would probably use for crafting, so this was a great way to use up some of these buttons. I'm going to get them all into my ornament, and then I'm going to add some pioneer ribbon in a bow up at the top. I got my ribbon at Walmart. I'll see if there is a version on Amazon and link it there. I also had a needle threader that I didn't think I was ever going to use, so I glued it here in the middle of our bow, and that is it for this one. I love it. Let me know what you guys think about this and if you'd make one for someone in your family. Now, I was was wandering around Dollar Tree and I was trying to think of ways that we could fill these clear ornaments, and I found this glitter glue. Now, I've never used this glitter glue before. It took me a little bit to realize there was a stopper in the top. So if you recreate this, make sure you take out the plastic stopper. All I'm going to do is squeeze my glitter glue into the ornament. I found two different styles, so I picked up both of them so we could kind of see which ornament we liked better. In the end, I liked the gold one a lot better than the confetti one, but you guys let me know down in the comments which one you like the best. After we get it in there, you want to let it dry just a little bit because it is glue. Then you can go ahead, put your topper back on, and then you're going to add some embellishments. I decided for the gold one, I found some golden red ribbon in my stash, so I just added some other little pieces that I also had in my stash, and I'm going to glue that up at the top. I used some pom-pom ribbons for the confetti one because I kind of felt like that was the vibe going in that ornament. But that was it for these two ornaments. Let me know what you guys think about this. And do you ever wander around the Crafter Square area thinking, how can I use this? And if you do, what are the things you want to use? Because I'd like to know down in the comments. Maybe I can make a video. So I saw this red G when I was at Walmart in the Christmas area, and I thought, this says Grinch to me. So I went ahead and picked up this ornament, and then I had to go to Hobby Lobby to find my yarn because Walmart did not have any lime green yarn, and so I did find it at Hobby Lobby. I went ahead and picked it up. This is a very large thing of yarn, so I better find some other uses for it so I don't waste my money. But we're gonna wrap our G around like with this lime green yarn. And this is a little bit time consuming, so I just suggest putting on a TV show or a book or something like that as you wrap it around. At the beginning, I was struggling a little bit on getting it through the G, but then I finally got a groove and I just was rolling like a twirling. Now you're going to want to start out with some glue at the beginning, and then you don't have to put glue, just maybe one or two other places as you go around the ornament. Now I did leave the ends open on purpose, so if you're wondering like, oh my gosh, what's she doing, I do have a purpose for that. But once we get all the way around like the curved part, then you're gonna go a different direction for the like part that makes the G, and you're going to want to go lengthwise just because it's longer that way and it'll be easier to wrap around, and then you'll cover the small section by itself. So once you have all the yarn on, you're going to take some neon green boa or some feathers. I got mine at Hobby Lobby. I'll link you an option from Amazon down in my description box. They do have this weird looking I don't even know what it is, like it looks like a boa, but it's not. It's like a garland at Walmart in the Grinch section. I didn't think it was that cute, but you could cut off pieces from that as well and do the same thing. So if you can't find the boa or something like that, Walmart does have an option that there are some things with fur. So you're going to cut off the fur, and then you're going to be gluing the fur to the open areas. So word to the wise with this boa, I had my ceiling fan on while I was completing this project, and I kid you not, there were just pieces of this boa flying all over my craft room. It was quite comical. My cat was chasing it, caught it a couple times. He thought it was a blast. The dog joined in, so it was definitely a family affair. So if you're cutting this, just know ahead of time it is a little bit messy, a little bit like cutting those mop thingies from Dollar Tree. If you know, you know. But anyway, once we got that all cut and glued on, I did give it a good trim because the parts of it were a little bit longer than others, but I think this is kind of unique and very cute. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I had some cookie cutters left over from a set I got from Goodwill, and so what we're gonna do, sometimes people will use baker's twine to wrap Christmas ornaments, but we're going to use yarn today. This is really easy. Anyone can do this. And if you don't have any cookie cutters on hand, a lot of times Dollar Tree will sell cookie cutters, especially at Christmas time. They will be plastic instead of metal, but you can do this same project idea, and you could also have kids do this one. I do put a little bit of hot glue down to begin with, but then the rest of it is not hot glued until you get to the end. So if you're doing this with kids, you could definitely do the hot glue part first, and then they can wrap away. This would be great for kids, grandkids, or if you're a teacher, this would be a fun ornament for kids to take home for Christmas. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 ornaments. I'm doing a candy cane and an angel, and then that is it for all you're going to do for this project. You're just going to wrap the entire thing with yarn. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little hanger. All we're going to do is take some of the same colored yarn, and we're going to tie a little hanger onto it. We're going to put a little bow at the top, and you can use these a couple different ways. I show you guys here how to use it as a Christmas tree ornament and how to top a present, and it makes a really cute, fun touch for any Christmas gifts you might be giving this year. Let me know if you want to give this one a try.
I could see the end until he looked my way. I used to be blue, now I'm brand new, all wrapped up in red.
So we're on to another ornament, and I just tried to come up with like some unique ways to create some Grinch projects that I hadn't seen before. So I'm taking one of these wood blocks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cover it with some white acrylic paint. I gave it a couple coats. My brush did have a little bit of water in it, so you might only need about 1 coat, but since mine was kind of watered down, I went ahead and did 2 coats. I have these stencils that I got from Amazon, and I'll link them down in my description box. They come in a pretty big set, and they have a wide variety. We're just going to use the Grinch part out of this belief, because we're going to attach him onto the wooden block as an ornament. So I'm using that lime green paint again from Walmart. We're just going to stencil him on with our stencil brush from the Dollar Tree. And then off camera, I took my stencil brush and kind of used my thumb like a toothbrush, and I gave it some speckles onto the whole thing after I had stenciled it. That's optional. Some people use a toothbrush. I didn't have a toothbrush on hand, so I just thought I'd use the leftover paint on my paintbrush. Once that is dry, I'm going to take another heart button and I'm going to glue it to the Grinch. I had somebody tell me one time that they don't like unfinished buttons, that they like there to be like yarn in the middle. And I think about it every single time I attach a button to something. Let me know if that's a pet peeve of yours down in the comments. I did not have a needle on hand, so I could not put any yarn in the holes here, but I can't remember who had left me the comment, but if you're still watching my videos, know that I think about you every single time I put these buttons on, and I will be getting myself a needle, but you guys let me know down below if that's a pet peeve of yours. So once we have that glued on, we're just going to make a messy bow. I know some people don't like messy bows. If that is you, make the bow that you would like to put at the top. I did go ahead and glue it kind of where the hanger is, but I did put it sideways, that way you could see all of the Grinch's head. And that is it for this project. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I think he's pretty adorable. I got these at Hobby Lobby. They come in a pack of 3. You can decorate them any way you like. You could even just use them the way that they are. We're going to use a larger version of this ornament in farther along in the video, and we're also going to use another one of these farther along in the video. But all I'm doing is using some cashew Waverly chalk paint to go over it, and you can style it either just like this with the antique Waverly wax, or you can see later with a cashew. Project, we're going to start out using a gift box, and I got this gift box in like a 3 set at Dollar Tree. So we're going to use these wood wooden cutout of these mittens. I got these at the DI several years ago up in Salt Lake, and I've just had them in my stash, and I finally decided to use them for this project, and they turn out really adorable. So all we're gonna do is cut out the pieces that we traced onto our box, and I didn't show you guys the front of the box, but the front of the box is like a woodland scene, so we're going with like snowy trees on the front here. But all we're gonna do is cut these out, and then once we have them cut out, then we're going to go ahead and use our glue stick again, and we're going to glue them to the front. Now, this gift box is super thick, so when you go ahead and use your sanding block, it took a little extra time just to get those extra heavy duty pieces off, but you can still use your sanding block to go around and get any of the excess edges. So once we've done that, we're going to overlap our two wooden pieces, and we're going to use some hot glue up at the top, and then we're just going to adhere those together. And then I kind of wanted these to look like they were hanging like as a group, and I didn't put the holes back in there, so I just decided to go ahead and use a pretty thick rope ribbon, and we're just going to tie it around the two pieces that we hot glued together. We're going to make a knot, and then we're going to tie it again at the top in a knot as well, so it can be a hanger. I think this is pretty adorable and would make a really cute Christmas tree ornament. So once we have our rope, we're going to go ahead and add some greenery to this after we've done our two pieces together. And so this greenery came from the Dollar Tree. We're just going to add, it was like one full pick. We're going to cut it apart, add the pieces together, and then I had these berries on hand. I thought it'd be really cute if we just put the berries down below our little knot. And I really love the simplicity of this one, and I love that we just used a gift box here to create a really cute Christmas tree ornament. Let me know what you guys think about this one. These wood round ornaments. They are $1.25 at Hobby Lobby right now for all 6 ornaments. So if you have a Hobby Lobby, run and get these. I really love this particular wood round ornament. If you can't find them, I'll put some down in my description box from Amazon. I also picked up this scorch marker at Hobby Lobby, but you can also pick these up at Amazon, and I will have a link down in my description box. We're going to use the marker and just color in parts of our stencil. So what I learned a little bit, it's my first time using one of these markers. I really loved how it turned out. My one word of advice in using it is the little detailed parts of the stencil were really hard to do with this thick marker. So if you're going to use a stencil for this, make sure that it's kind of a bigger stencil that you can use the marker in. All we're going to do is use my regular heat gun for this and go around, and it gives it a really nice wood burn look. I went ahead and did the topper as well. Here it is for you guys. Let me know how you guys think it turned out, and if you think you would use one of these scorch markers.
Sitting by the fire, feeling oh so fine on this holy night.
For this ornament, we're going to use some removable vinyl. I got these in sheets on a clearance sale at Hobby Lobby. They also have vinyl at the dollar store, so if you want to pick up vinyl there, or if you don't even want to use vinyl for this ornament and you want to just paint it or use a marker to color it in, you could do that as well. I'm just going to cut out the shape of the ornament and I'm going to lay it down on our wood round. Now, I cut it a little too short on a couple areas when I cut out the circle, but we can fix that using a Sharpie marker. We're also going to use our X-Acto knife to cut off any excess pieces, and then up at the top, the little topper at the top of the ornament has like a little lip that hangs over. We're going to use our X-Acto knife to cut in between those pieces so that we get a really flush look there. Once I peel off the part, there is a little bit of the wood showing up there as well. So we're going to use this Sharpie metallic marker. It's just a silver marker, and we're going to color around the entire ornament. I actually do the back with this marker as well, and it turns out really well. If I can find one of these metallic silver markers on Amazon, I will link it down in my description box. Once I have the whole wood round covered, I also picked up these really fun colored glue sticks. I also had one of these little smaller glue guns that I got, I think at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to use that glue gun for my colored glue sticks. I'm going to go ahead and create a little patch of brown glue, and we're going to take these buttons that I got at Hobby Lobby. They kind of look like cookie cutters. We're going to stick one of the gingerbread cookie cutters into our brown glue. If you haven't figured it out, that is supposed to be cookie dough. My son thought that I should put some white around to look like flour. You guys let me know if you think I should have added white around the edges to look like flour. I also took these buttons from Hobby Lobby that look like little gingerbread men, and we're going to go ahead and add those to the side. Now my glue kind of dried funny and I didn't like the way that it looked, so I took out my heat gun and I'm just going to go over all of the brown glue to kind of melt it out and smooth out any of the impurities when I glued it down. It actually worked really well and I liked how that turned out. I had this fabric left over. I think this came from the Dollar Tree, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just going to cut a couple of strips. We're going to cut those strips in half, and then we're going to make a messy bow by crisscrossing our fabric over one another, and then taking another piece of fabric and tying that off in the middle. That is my trick for messy bows, because that way your piece of ribbon or twine or whatever that you're using becomes a part of your bow. So if you use a piece of ribbon or fabric that's already in the bow, then it just becomes part of it, and you're not able to tell that you used a different color. Once I have that kind of trimmed off, I'm not going to dovetail these or anything. That's a personal preference, but if you don't like that look and you want to dovetail them, you can. If you don't like the messy bow look, you can add just a traditional shoelace bow here or something like that, just to add a little color at the top. And that is it for this one. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I think it's adorable. Let me know what your thoughts are.
All the stars they shine on this lovely night. We light up the world, forget our troubles for a moment.
For this project, we're going to use the gingerbread buttons again. These were a really great deal. Remember, all of Hobby Lobby's Christmas decor and crafting supplies are half off. So these little buttons were $1.50. I'm going to put them, I painted this wood round white, and I'm just going to go ahead and add these gingerbread men, kind of like they're helping each other get to the top. So I'm using hands and feet kind of by each other so that the hand is lifted up next to the foot. And I'm just going to kind of crisscross them up to the top. I also had one of these gingerbread star ornaments. This was left over from last year. I think these also came from Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to put that at the top, so if you haven't figured it out, they are topping their tree with a gingerbread star. I'm just taking one of the Dollar Tree greenery ties, I think they're called. I cut it and then I just added it to the ornament to look like a tree. I'm going to use my little tool here to make polka dots. We're going to go with red polka dots all around the ornament. That is it for this one. Super easy, super adorable. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
And every stranger is a friend, so let them join in. 'Cause when joy fills the air, you already know it's...
So we're going to start this project by painting the wood round with the color Glacier from Folk Art. I really like this color. It kind of reminds me of kind of just winter. I use this color a lot like in January when I'm doing like snow and things like that, but it's just kind of a really light pretty blue color. So we're going to cover the whole ornament. I also got these nativity buttons at Hobby Lobby, and we're going to go ahead and use these to make this ornament. So we're going to start out by putting some hot glue at the bottom of the wood round, and then I'm going to take some Spanish moss and I'm going to glue on the Spanish moss. Now you could skip this part if you don't like the messiness of Spanish moss. You could add a little wood toothpick staple instead, but I liked the look of this for like them to be kind of in the grassy part. And then I'm just going to add my buttons to look like a nativity. So we're adding Mary and Joseph, and then we're going to add baby Jesus into the Spanish moss so he kind of looks like he's in his bed. And then this button set comes with an angel, a donkey, and a sheep, and we're just going to kind of glue those on to look like an actual nativity. I thought that this project was a little bare once I got all of the buttons on, so I thought a star should really go in the top. I didn't have any like super small stars, so I end up gluing on one of these Dollar Tree kind of large stars at the top, but I actually really like how it turned out. I think these buttons are adorable, and I just, of course, like the message. So let me know what you guys think about this project. Would you recreate this one? I think it's adorable and I love it, but you guys let me know.
Love beyond compare. It's Christmas time. 'Cause when joy fills the air, you already know it's Christmas. Love beyond compare. It's Christmas.
For this ornament, we're going to take one of these greenery picks that they have at Dollar Tree. They come in a package of 6. We're going to make a wreath shape out of it. These make really great small wreath projects. So if you are like unsure about whether you should pick up a package, I love to craft with these, especially to make all different size wreaths for my projects. I also painted this wood round white, and we're just going to hot glue our wreath onto the white wood round. I picked up these buttons that look like lights, and we're going to go ahead and hot glue the lights into the wreaths. So I just went around. I think I had about 2 left over, just to my own preference. You could add as many or as few as you would like to this. Once you have your lights glued on, I went ahead and got these gingerbread pieces. These also came from a Dollar Tree, they came from Hobby Lobby. They have 2 different designs in the package. Now, I've seen several people make it gingerbread full-size wreaths. I would love to make one, so I might try that this year, gingerbread house wreath. Let me know if you've ever made one or if you've seen one and what you think about them, but I think they're pretty adorable. So we're going to intertwine the 2 designs here. We're going to go with the church and then the house, and we're going to go all the way around the wreath, and then we're going to go ahead and after I got them all glued on, I decided that this actually needed a little bit of like white paint onto the wreath to give it like that flocking look. So I just took my paintbrush and kind of went around in some of the open areas of the wreath. And then that is it for this ornament. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
Oh, what a blissful sight. We're singing heartfelt carols in the night.
For this ornament, we're going to go ahead and paint the wood round red. I tried to do something different with this project using one of these snow markers. I absolutely hated how it turned out, and it just did not work for me. If you've ever used one of these snow markers, let me know. I just could not get it to work for me. So instead, I took this sponge thingy that I had, and I decided to put polka dots on here. But once I started doing the polka dots, I realized that my sponge brush was too big for this wood round. But I continued to go with it, put my polka dots on there, and then I just took some more ribbon. This one has like kind of little red and green polka dots, and we're going to go ahead and make a messy bow using our same fabric again in the middle to tie it off. And then we're just going to glue this to the top of our ornament, and that is it for this project. I think it's pretty cute. It's pretty simple, and you could customize this for colors, but let me know what you guys think about this one.
We're family and friends unite. We light up the world, forget our troubles for a moment.
Cinnamon sticks. Mine came from the Hobby Lobby, but you can get them at Dollar Tree as well. I broke them in half, or really not half, I just broke them into pieces and added them to the ornament. I got these really cute buttons at Hobby Lobby. They're 60% off now, and they have so many different shapes. But we're going to add these little trees and I think there's like a little gingerbread man. They look like cookie cutters, and then we're going to add these just plain green and red ones. I also got the gingerbread men cutouts from the Dollar Tree in the Christmas section, and we're going to cover them with some brown paint that's watered down with some water just to give it a stain color. It'll lighten up as it dries. I do go ahead and do both sides of the gingerbread men, and then we're going to use a paint marker to add just the little bits of frosting to the legs, arms, and face. So this is just a really easy process. And then once I get those into the ornament, I took some ribbon. I think this came from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to make an awareness bow. We're going to glue that up at the top of our ornament, and then I found this little Mrs. Claus also in the button area at Hobby Lobby. We're going to add her to the top, and then here it is. This one is my favorite of the day. Let me know what you think about this one.
We can spend the night underneath the mistletoe, and I've gotten you a present that I put under the tree.
Like a jar gift idea that I saw on Pinterest, but they had green M&Ms in a mason jar, and I thought, oh, we'll use pom-poms and do the same thing. So I added green pom-poms to one of those like mason jar ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and I had these green buttons in my stash. I just added them to the front, and then we're using some ribbon to cover up the silver part up on the top, just red ribbon like the elf's or Buddy the Elf like he wears in his costume. And then I'm going to go ahead and make another awareness bow, and we're going to glue that into the middle of this piece of ribbon that we already glued to the top. So this is just really easy. We're just going to hot glue those together. It's one of my favorite bows, like if I'm in a hurry or I just have a small project. It works really well for those kind of projects. But we're just going to go ahead and glue it together, and then I always like to add something in the middle for these because it always looks like it's unfinished. So I decided to add a red button here up at the top, but here it is styled for you guys. Let me know what you think about this one.
It's Christmas, the first for you and me. The snow is falling down, and the storm is on its way. But as long as you're around, everything will be okay.
For this one, I just picked up a book at the Dollar Tree, but you can get books at thrift stores or just books that you have that maybe are falling apart, and rather than throwing them away, you want to do something like this. I have a friend who teaches kindergarten who loves Dr. Seuss, and I had some Dr. Seuss books that had seen better days when I taught elementary, and so I did the same thing with those books. They were so colorful, and it's a super fun and customized gift. But all you're going to do is take out some pages. You're going to use your scissors to make some curlicues with your book pages, and then you're just going to stick them into the ornament. So I'm using one of the really large ornaments that they have at Dollar Tree. This one comes just one by itself, but if you get the smaller ones, you can get two for $1.25, which is a really good deal. I have given these away as gifts also for my students one year with a little tag that said go on an adventure. So there's just a lot of ideas that you can do with this. I'm just going to use these little snowflake picks that came off a evergreen pick that I got from Joann's. I'm just going to add it here, and then I'm going to take some Merry Christmas ribbon. I made another awareness bow. I'm just going to glue it right here, and then let me know what you guys think about this one.
Holiday with you. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you. I longed for this moment to have you for myself in a cabin out.
We're going to use a big bulb again from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to add several of these pieces. Now I like to keep the bigger stems because they make really good stems for other things like pumpkins and things like that, but the little ones, I went ahead and put several of those in there. I also had these pine cones left over from like a couple years ago. They're just tiny pine cones. I'm going to go ahead and add those to this as well. I believe that Hobby Lobby also sells some tiny pine cones. And sometimes Dollar Tree will have like a little cinnamon potpourri set that you can also use. So this ribbon was in my stash, and all I'm going to do is cut it in half because it's a little big for a bow at the top of our ornament. I went ahead and dovetailed the ends, and then I'm going to make an awareness bow out of this one section, not both sections, and we're going to glue it up at the top. So like I said, these are really easy, and this time I used some twine in the middle rather than hot gluing, so it has a little bunched look there instead of just hot glue. But we're just going to glue that right up at the top, and then just for a little bit of extra, we're going to take a couple more of those little tiny pine cones, and we're going to glue those in between the middle just to kind of cover up the twine. If you don't have the mini pine cones, this is still adorable. So let me know what you think about this one.
Till we're perfect for this week. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for you and me. Another year went by.
I'm inspired by those little I Spy bags my kids had when they were little, but these buttons, I'm telling you, they're adorable. Again, they're at Hobby Lobby in the Christmas area, but I picked up 2 packs of the nativity ones, and then I also got these shepherds that had camel. I went ahead and put all of them into a big bulb. Now, you could also use the mason jar ones here, and you can use a little bit bigger buttons like the Santa and Mrs. Claus would fit in the mason jar one as well. I'm adding this fake snow. Mine came from the Dollar Tree. This was just a leftover bag, but they do have it again this year. And then I'm taking this gift tag and I'm going to trace it onto some brown craft paper. That way I can write on the back of the brown craft paper like what we're looking for in the ornament. So I've got Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus, camel, the wise men, and then we're going to glue, well, I tied that one to the top, and then I just made a quick awareness bow again to glue up at the top. And then this is really fun because you can shake it up and find the people inside the ornament. Let me know what you think about this one.
Happier than I have ever been. It's safe to say that my love for you is true. Tomorrow it is Christmas.
All I did was take a bag of red bells that came from the Dollar Tree and one of these smaller ornaments that you get there that come in the 2-pack, and I just added the bells to the ornament. Then I'm taking my ribbon and I decided to make a shabby bow for this one. So I cut off about 6 pieces and then another piece a little bit longer so that I can tie that one in the middle. I just lay them out crisscross like this. You can use different colors if you want to. If you've watched me for a long time, I use these a lot on my channel because they're my favorite bow. But we're just going to take another piece of ribbon, tie that in the middle, and then we'll just cut off a little bit of the excess that's a little bit longer on one side. But then we already have a middle section taken care of for our bow. And all we're going to do is add that to the top and add a hanger, and then let me know what you think about this one.
This moment to have you for myself in a cabin out of nowhere, just us and no one else. I've decorated everything.
We're going to take some green pom-poms. Mine came from Hobby Lobby, and they do go on sale every once in a while, but I'm going to fill up this whole bulb with the green pom-poms. Then I took one red pom-pom, and we're just going to stick it down in there for the Grinch's heart. And then that is it for the inside of this one. We're just going to add the top back on, and I don't know about you guys, but I have a very hard time with those. But once I get it back on, I'm just going to add my ribbon, and then that is it for this one. Let me know what you think about it.
The first for you and me.
Guys, I grabbed some tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. I also got some of these little Scrabble tiles. I think mine came from Hobby Lobby. I'm not 100% sure. I also got some baker's twine that you can pick up at the Dollar Tree, and this paint that I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm using lime green. I will link that down in my description box. So we're going to go ahead and paint our tumbling tower blocks with the green paint. I just used hot glue to glue these together, but you could also use wood glue as well. Once you get those glued together, we're just going to attach our tiles that spell out Grinch onto our little block. So this is supposed to look like a Scrabble tile holder. You're gonna put them in there however you want. I liked staggering them a little bit. Once I get them on, I'm gonna take this Santa hat sticker that I got from Hobby Lobby. I looked everywhere for little tiny Santa hats and I couldn't find any. Let me know if you've seen them somewhere, but I just decided to use the sticker. I hot glued it to the side of our ornament. We're gonna take the baker's twine to use it as a a hanger, and then that is it for this project. It probably took me about 10 minutes to make this. The most it needed was the drying time of the paint. It's super easy and adorable. Let me know what you guys think about this one. For this project, we're going to take one of these big hearts from the Dollar Tree. They have these over in the Crafter Square all the time. This is not a seasonal item, and I actually made this as like a last minute type one. It ended up being my favorite one, so there you go. Well, all we're going to do is take some red acrylic paint, and we're going to cover the entire heart. Once I have that painted and dried, I'm going to take this boa that I got from Hobby Lobby. I used it in all of the projects today. It was $3.99. I thought that was pretty good because I have quite a bit left, so I can make a lot of projects still from this one boa. We're going to go ahead and measure it around the heart, and then we're going to use some hot glue, gluing our boa around the heart, and that is it for this one. It's super easy, inexpensive, and my favorite one of the day. Let me know what you guys think about this one. This project, we're going to take these wood rounds that I got from Amazon. They come with the hole already in them and some twine to hang them up. The possibilities of like decorating these are really endless, so check them out down in my description box. For this ornament, we're going to go ahead and cover them with some lime acrylic paint. This is the Folk Art brand. I'll link it down in my description box. I picked mine up at Hobby Lobby, but you can also get it on Amazon. And then I'm going to just go ahead and let that dry. Now I only did the front. You can also do the front and the back if you want to. I picked up these cute little Grinch face stickers on Amazon as well. They come with 3 different face styles, and so I'm going to go ahead and make all 3 of the face styles for you guys today, so you can check them out. If you want to pick up the faces, I will link those stickers down in my description box. This is a super easy project. Anyone can make this, and kids could also make it. You're going to go ahead and just peel off the sticker, stick it to the front of the wood block, and then we're going to take this boa that I got at Hobby Lobby, and we're going to just cut off a little piece and glue it to the top of our wooden block. I will link a feather boa that I found on Amazon also down in my description box if you can't find a Hobby Lobby one. That is it for this project. Super easy, super quick, and super cute. Let me know which of the 3 faces was your favorite. This one was mine. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're not a part of my YouTube family, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and become a member of my YouTube family today. If you've made it this far, comment a Christmas tree emoji in the comments. Now, this season at Dollar Tree has got like all the seasons out at once. You got fall, you got Halloween, you got Christmas. So we're going to use a couple of fall items to make this next Grinch ornament. You're going to pick up some of these ghost ornaments as well as the witch's hat ornaments. We also need a flat wooden bead. I got mine from Amazon. I will link those down in my description box if you want to check them out. It's also time for me to pick up another bag of those. So we're going to go ahead and paint our ghost with the lime green paint. Once we have that covered, and I only really needed to give it 1 coat. If you feel like you need more than 1 coat, go ahead. Then you're going to go ahead and paint the wooden bead the green color as well. We're going to paint the hat the red color of acrylic paint, and it's totally up to you what color red you use. I'll link the color I used down in the description box. Then once we have it all painted and dried, we're ready to assemble. We're going to take our hat, we're going to go ahead and place it over the eyes of the ghost, so we're making kind of a Grinch gnome here. Once we have that glued on, we're going to glue on our wooden nose, and then for the hat part of the white portion of like the witch's hat, to make it look like Santa, I'm going to use some cotton balls. I'm just going to pull them apart and I'm going to hot glue them to the brim of our hat. That way we get kind of a fluffy Santa hat look, and it's super cute and affordable. Then just to give a little more touch, I added a button to the end of the hat, and that is it for this project. This one's super easy as well. You can make a lot of these. You could give them as gifts or sell them at a craft fair if you are into that. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I think it's adorable. Let me know what you think. Project, we're going to do another rendition of our wood round. So we're going to take those same wood rounds that we got from Amazon. We're going to paint it with that same lime green color. And then if you don't want to pick up the stickers, you can make this one without those face stickers. You just need either a heart button or a heart cutout. My heart cutouts came from the Dollar Tree from the Valentine's season. I just had them on hand, but you can pick up buttons that are hearts at Hobby Lobby all year round. So all we're going to do is glue a heart down in the corner of our wood round. We're going to go ahead and add another piece of our boa up at the top. I'm just using the hanger that came with the ornament, and that is it for this one. I really love this one a lot. This is probably my second favorite, which if you see the trend here, I kind of like the Grinch with the heart. That's just kind of where I like to go with the Grinch, but let me know what you guys think. So for this project, we're going to use a couple of these mug cutouts. They are ornaments that you can get at Dollar Tree. Now you can either find them in the fall crafting section or you can find them in the Christmas crafting section. We're going to paint only the bottom portion of our mugs with the lime green paint. I did go ahead and do both sides of this ornament. Once it's dry, we're going to take some cotton balls. We're going to stretch out the cotton balls and glue them to the top of our mug. That's going to make it look like whipped cream. Now you could paint your mug red if you wanted to, if you were going for Grinch colors. If you're just going for like a hot chocolate look too, you don't even have to add the letters I'm going to write on here, or you could change the color and you could totally do the same thing. So we're going to write stink, stank, stunk on our mug. You could also use one of those Grinch sticker faces to make it look kind of like a Grinch mug. There's lots of possibilities for this one. So once I get my letters written on there, I'm just going to go ahead and use some dots, and I'm going to put them on all the points of my letters. I like to do that when I do hand lettering like that because I think it adds a little fun twist. If you don't like your handwriting, no worries. You could use a cutting machine here, or you could use stickers. That is all we're going to do for this one. This one's super easy, definitely customizable, and you can make it look however you want. Let me know what you think about this one. Another kind of popular trend going right now, these letter beads. I'm not gonna lie though, these Dollar Tree letter beads, they are really small. But you get quite a few in the package in the Crafter Square area for $1.25. I'm spelling the word snow, so I'm just going to take S-N-O-W out, and I'm using some hot glue. I could not find my tweezers to hold on to this, so I'm using some scissors. If you have tweezers, I highly recommend the tweezers. It'd be a little bit easier to get your word into the ornament than my scissors were. But we're going to take this snow that I got from Dollar Tree, and as you can see here, I made a total mess because I made my own funnel trying to get it into the ornament. So I highly recommend a real funnel or a better paper funnel than the one I was using. But put it in something because this is pretty messy and it will kind of get everywhere. So once I get my snow into the ornament, I'm using some scissors. I'm going to drop my snow letters down into the snow. Now, because they are so small, they get a little bit lost in the ornament. If you had a little bit bigger ones, it'd probably be a little bit easier to see once you got them in the ornament. But I do still think this is pretty cute. And there is a couple different ways you could style this. I just went with some ribbon and yarn from Dollar Tree, and then I had this really cute snowman little ornament left over from another project. I glued him to the middle of our bow, and that is it for this one. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
It makes it feel like Christmas every day. Now the winter's here to stay. All I want is this embrace. Maybe it's great.
I found these adorable socks at Dollar Tree. I picked up 2 pairs, but I only end up using 1 pair. I liked these fuzzy gingerbread socks, so we're going to go ahead and use one of the large bulbs from Dollar Tree. We're going to put our sock on, and then when we get it to the desired look, we're going to cut off the top of our sock. I decided after I cut off the top of the sock that I wanted to kind of push it down into the ornament. I was originally just going to put the topper back on with the ornament pushed down into it, but I did not like how that looked. So instead, I went ahead and, still doing the same method of pushing it down into the ornament, added some hot glue and some twine around the top. Once I had that secure, as you can see here, I decided not to add the actual topper that came with it. I'm using a smaller topper. We're going to add some hot glue into the ornament, and then we're going to push down our ornament topper into that piece. That way it's flush with our ornament and you don't see any of this silver part. I don't know what it was about this ornament, but I just didn't really like the silver part showing, and I could not figure out a way to hide it that looked good. So then I just took some random ribbons and things that I had in my stash, and I'm just going to glue it up kind of towards the top of the gingerbread's head. They were white and red, kind of going with the same theme here. Here is how it turned out. I love the fuzziness of this one. Let me know what you guys think about this project. Another one of those smaller bulbs. Add some white pom-poms. These came from the Dollar Tree. We're just going to fill it up as much as you want. You can have a ton in there, or you can have a little bit in there. And then I took some vinyl from the Dollar Tree and I cut it into a triangle, and then I just added it to the front. I didn't add eyes or a mouth for this one, but you definitely could if you want. You could use some black vinyl there. I did take some black ribbon that I had in my stash and I wrapped it around the top a couple times because this ribbon is pretty sheer, but I was going for the illusion of a hat here. And then I added that same ribbon to the hanger part, just to give it a little bit more pizzazz, I guess, rather than the silver one. But here it is. Let me know what you think about this one.
All I wanna do is spend this holiday with you. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you.
If you have a favorite, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more holiday inspiration videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel for new content every week. Happy decorating, and as always, wherever you are in your journey is a perfect place to start. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!